Hi guys, welcome to my channel. This is Rashmi and today I'm going to show you how to make half of this hexagon to finish off the edging of a blanket that you might be making with this particular motif. I'm going to be using double yarn in lilac and white for this project, and the links can be found in the description box below. We're going to start off by creating a slip knot in our main color. Use whatever method you prefer to do this and slip your crochet inside your slip knot. I'm going to tighten it by pulling on this end, and let's go ahead and chain 4. Yarn over, pull through the loop. That's my first chain, second, third and fourth. Once you have your 4 chains, you're going to slip stitch in your first chain to create a loop. So stick your crochet in, yarn over, pull up a loop, make this loop go through your loop that you had on your crochet. I'm going to just pull on this end just to make the first stitch a little bit smaller. If you pull these stitches apart, you will see this little space in between these stitches, and that's where we will be working our next round. So let's go ahead and chain 3. That's 1, 2 and 3. This chain 3 is going to be my first double crochet of this round. As we're working half a hexagon, these are going to be rows instead of rounds. So let's go ahead, chain 3 to begin our first row, chain 1, which will be a chain between our 2 double crochets. Now from here, yarn over, go in the center of these stitches and pull up a loop. Yarn over and pull through first 2, yarn over, pull through the next 2. This is our second double crochet. Be aware that I am using US terminology. This is treble crochet in UK terminology. Now we have a double crochet which is represented by chain 3, chain 1 in between, and a double crochet which is right here. From here you're going to chain 1 and go back into the center of these stitches again, and we are going to work another double crochet in the same place. We're going to need 6 of these all together. So chain 1, go back into that same space and work another double crochet, and repeat until you have 6 double crochets all together. Go into that same space. Here's my 5th. Chain 1 and last one. Go back into that same space, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through the first 2, yarn over, pull through the next 2. Now this has created a semicircle for us, and this is exactly what we want. We are going to go back around and start working on top of these stitches. Usually when you're making a hexagon, you keep working in rounds. However, because this is half a hexagon, we're going to chain 3 and turn our work around and work on the opposite direction. This chain 3 is going to be our first double crochet of this row, and is directly on top of our double crochet from our previous row. Now we're going to yarn over and work a double crochet in this chain 1 space right here. Pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through first 2, yarn over, pull through our next 2 loops. We now have 2 double crochets side by side. Chain 1 and go on top of the next stitch and work a double crochet right here. So stick your crochet in here, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through first 2 and then yarn over, pull through next 2. Now in the next chain 1 space, we're going to go ahead and work 2 double crochets in that same space. That's my first, and here's my second. We are going to follow this on with a double crochet on top of the next stitch. There we go. We now have 2 double crochets, chain 1 space and 4 double crochets together. We're going to chain 1 and repeat this 4 double crochets in the next 2 stitches. So we're going to skip that chain 1 space and work a double crochet on top of our previous double crochet from our previous row. And in the chain 1 space, we're going to work 2 double crochets in the same space. That's 1, and that's my second. And now we're going to have a double crochet on top of our next stitch. Chain 1, and this time we're going to work 2 double crochets. So one is going to go in this chain 1 space and the other one is going to go on top of these stitches. So let's go ahead and work this double crochet first. Now be aware, when we started this we chained 4, so this time round when I'm working my last stitch I need to do that on top of my chain 3. So here's my first chain, second chain, and there's the third one. So I'm going to yarn over and go into this particular stitch or the chain, third chain, yarn over, pull up a loop, and yarn over, pull through first 2, yarn over, pull through next 2. Now that completes my second row. We're going to chain 3 again, turn our work around, and in this one we have a double crochet here already, which is represented by our chain 3, which is on top of this stitch. Going to yarn over and work 2 double crochets in the next stitch. So let's go on the top part of this stitch and work 2 double crochets. There's my first one, and here's my second one. Now this time we're going to chain 2, so that's 1 and 2, and in this cluster of 4 double crochets I am going to work 2 double crochets on top of the first one, double crochet in this one, double crochet in this one, and 2 double crochets there. So let's do this together. Let's stick our crochet in the top part of this stitch and work a double crochet. There's that. Go ahead, go back into that same stitch, and let's work 1 more. So I have 2 double crochets on top of this stitch. Now I'm going to work 1 double crochet on top of the next stitch, 1 double crochet on top of the next stitch, and then 2 double crochets to finish off this cluster of 4. That's 1, back into that same stitch, and I'm working another double crochet. There we go. Now that completes our first bit. I'm going to repeat that on this part as well. So chain 2 in between, yarn over, and we're going to go on top of this double crochet and work 2 double crochets. That's my first, and here's my second. Now in the next one I'm going to have 1 double crochet, again 1 double crochet in the next one, and I have 1 more double crochet left out of that group of 4. I'm going to work 2 double crochets on top of this one. Stick your crochet in, work a double crochet, go back into that same stitch, work another double crochet, chain 2, yarn over. In this double crochet I'm going to have 2 double crochets again. So on top of this stitch work 2 double crochets. There's my first, and back into that same stitch and work another. To finish this row off we are going to have a double crochet on top of our chain 3. So that's my first chain, second, and here's the third one. So I'm going to yarn over, go into this chain, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through the first 2 and then the next 2, chain 3, and turn your work around. Now this chain 3 again is going to be a stitch on top of this one, so I'm not going to do anything in this stitch here because this is occupied already. Yarn over, going to the next stitch, and we're working a double crochet on top. That's my first one done there, and in the next stitch here we're going to have 2 double crochets. So yarn over, and in this stitch I'm going to have 1 back into that same one and have another double crochet. There we go. And this group of double crochets going to start off with an increase, which is 2 double crochets in the same stitch, follow this on with a double crochet in each of these stitches, and complete it with another increase, which is 2 double crochets in that stitch. So chain 2 in between, yarn over, go on top part of this stitch and work 2 double crochets in the same stitch. From here I'm going to work 1 double crochet in the next few stitches that are here. 2, 3 and 4. Now in the last stitch of this group of double crochets from my previous round I'm going to work 2 double crochets in the same stitch. That's 1, and here's my second one. Chain 2 in between and repeat this over here. Chain 2 in between, and now we're working on the last part of these stitches. So we're starting off with 2 double crochets in this double crochet. And then a double crochet on top of the next stitch and a double crochet on top of our chain 3. So that's first chain, second, and the third chain is up there. It's a bit squashed, but we need to make sure we go in the third chain. There we go. That completes our 4 rows. So that's my first row, second, third, and 4. Chain 3 to begin 5th one. Turn your work around, and this time we're working on top of these stitches, and this time I'm going to have just 1 double crochet on each of these stitches. So this one's already occupied. Yarn over, go into the next stitch and work a double crochet. That's 1, 2, and 3. There we go. In this round I'm going to chain 2 and slip stitch in my chain 2 space from my previous round. Go into this space, yarn over, pull up a loop, and make this loop go through your loop that you had on your crochet. Now we're going to chain 2 again, and we are now going to continue working a double crochet in each of these stitches. I have 2 more left. And when we come across our chain 2 space again, we are going to chain 2 again, slip stitch in this space and work another chain 2. Chain 2 again, and repeat this process throughout this row as well. Right at the end of this row, I'm just going to finish off by working a double crochet on top of my chain 3 as well. Start the next row, chain 3, turn your work around. I'm going to work a double crochet on top of my next 2 stitches. This one is already occupied with a chain 3, which is our first double crochet. I'm going to have a double crochet on top of the next 2. So that's my first, and here's my second. You'll notice that you're left with 1 double crochet here. We're going to miss that stitch, and we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. And this time around, we're going to slip stitch in this chain 2 space that we created in our previous round. Chain 3 again, 1, 2, 3. Slip stitch in the next chain 2 space that we created, like this. And we're going to chain 3 one more time. Now from here, yarn over, miss the first double crochet and work a double crochet on top of the next double crochet, like this. So this is what we have created. We're going to miss our first double crochet and the last double crochet to reduce the number of stitches up here, and we're going to work a double crochet on top of each of these stitches, and then we are going to chain 3 and slip stitch in each of these the chain 2 spaces that we have from our previous round. Let's work the first part together. So I'm going to go ahead and work a double crochet on top of each of these stitches, leaving the last one of this group of double crochets from my previous round. There we go. Once I've done that, I've left first one here and the last one here. Once we miss those 2, I'm going to replace that with a chain 3 instead, and we're going to slip stitch in our first chain 2 space, like this, chain 3 again, slip stitch in our second chain 2 space, chain 3, and yarn over, miss the first double crochet and work a double crochet on top of each of these, then miss the last double crochet and repeat this process till the end. I'm at the last part of this row, and I'm going to just finish off by working a double crochet in all of these stitches, and don't forget the chain 3. So top part of your chain 3, or in the third chain rather, you're going to work a double crochet as well. Now that completes this round as well. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This was our 6th row. Chain 3 to begin the next row. turn your work around, and now in this one again we're going to reduce the number of double crochets we've got. So we've got 3 here, we've got 6 here, 6 here, 3 here. So instead of that, we're going to reduce this to 2, and over here we're going to reduce this to 4. So we're going to miss the first, we're going to miss the last, and we're going to work a double crochet on top of each of these. Now we're going to replace those double crochets with a chain 3 and connect them with each of these double crochets. So I'm going to show you the first part, and then you can go ahead and finish the rest. This chain 3 is occupying this stitch here. We're going to yarn over, go on top of the next stitch and work a double crochet. And now the 3 has been reduced to 2. I'm going to miss this last double crochet here. I'm going to chain 3 instead. We are going to slip stitch on top of our first chain 3 space here. Chain 3 again, that's 1, 2, 3, slip stitch in our next chain 3 space, chain 3 again, 1, 2, 3, slip stitch in our third chain 3 space, and last and final time you're going to chain 3 again. Now this is going to replace our first double crochet, and in place of that we're going to skip it and work a double crochet in the next stitch like this. From here we're going to carry on working our double crochets on top of the next few stitches. That's the double crochet and my final double crochet. Here's my 4th one. Once you have your 4 double crochets, we're going to miss this one. Instead of that, I'm going to chain 3, and we're going to slip stitch in our first chain 3 space from my previous round, chain 3 again, slip stitch in the second chain 3 space, chain 3 again, and slip stitch in our third chain 3 space right here. Chain 3 the last time, so you have 4 chain 3 spaces, and yarn over, miss the double crochet and work a double crochet in the next stitch. And we're going to have 4 double crochets in a row. So that's first, second, third, and my 4th one. Chain 3, slip stitch in our first chain 3 space. We'll miss that stitch. There we go. Chain 3 again, slip stitch on top of our next chain 3 space, chain 3 again, and we're going to slip stitch on top of our third chain 3 space, chain 3 for the last time, miss this double crochet here, and complete this row by working 2 double crochets in the next 2 stitches. Don't forget the chain 3 here, and we're going to work a double crochet on top of the third chain. There we go. That completes this row as well. We're going to chain 3, and this time we're going to turn our work around, and this time we're going to reduce this number of stitches to 2. So instead of 4, we're going to have 2, and the rest of the steps are exactly the same. So this chain 3 is going to represent as a double crochet in this stitch. I'm going to totally leave that. From here I'm going to chain 3, so altogether we've got 6 chains really, and we're going to slip stitch in our first chain 3 space here, chain 3 again, and keep repeating until you've covered all of these chain 3 spaces. And chain 3 again, slip stitch, chain 3 again, and slip stitch in the next. Now finally I'm going to chain 3 again, and this time round we've got some double crochets that we need to cover. So yarn over, we're going to go in the center of the second, in between these 4 stitches, so in the center of these 2 right here. So we've got 4, so right in the middle of it we're going to work 2 double crochets in the same space. So that's my first one, and here's my second one, and just like this we're going to complete this row. So we're going to have chain 3 and work a slip stitch in each of these spaces that we've got. Chain 3, slip stitch in the next, chain 3, slip stitch in the next chain 3 space, chain 3 again, slip stitch in the next one, finally chain 3 one more time, yarn over, in the center of these 4 stitches right here, work 2 double crochets, and repeat the same method till the end of this row. Right at the end of this row I have just 1 stitch left to work, so chain 3 and work a double crochet on top of our 3rd chain. So locate the 3rd chain. Sometimes that stitch can be a little bit squashed, but be sure to go inside that stitch. Here it is, and there's my double crochet, which completes this row as well. I'm going to chain 1 and I'm going to go ahead and snip this yarn off as we are done with this and pull it out of the stitch. Pull this down, and there we go. That completes my half a hexagon, and we're now going to add the border on top as well. Now I'm going to be attaching the new color, which is white. You can obviously change that to whatever you want to. This is where we finished our previous row, and I'm going to attach the color in the opposite place. So I'm going to turn that work around. Now this over here, we had our chain 6. So chain 3 to represent our double crochet, and then chain 3 to go on to the next stitch here. So what we're going to do is we're going to locate our chain 3. So if I bring this closer, we've got the 1st chain, 2nd and 3rd one. There's my 3rd chain. I'm going to slip my crochet inside it, and I'm going to pull the new color through, and we're going to give this a little knot in place, this color. Here we go. Once we have done that, you're going to go back into that stitch. Let's move that out of the way. Go into that stitch and work chain 3. So pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through once, twice, and the 3rd time. That creates my chain 3. From here, you're going to yarn over and work 2 double crochets inside this chain 3 space. So go into this space, pull up a loop, and work 1 and 2 double crochets. From here, we're not going to chain anything. We're just going to go straight into this chain 3 space and work 3 more double crochets. So yarn over, go straight into that stitch, or the space rather, and work 3 double crochets. That's my 2nd, and here's the 3rd one. So just like this, you're going to have 3 double crochets in each of these chain 3 spaces, and when you come across these 2 double crochets from your previous round, you're going to skip that by working chain 2. So 3 double crochets, 3 double crochets, 3 double crochets, chain 2 on top, and then carry on with the 3 double crochets in each of these spaces. I'm on my last stitch of this row now. Let's go ahead and work this double crochet as well. And once you finish working 3 double crochets in every single one of these chain 3 spaces, you're going to go ahead and chain 3. Now this is going to allow us to turn our corner and start working on top of these stitches. We're going to yarn over, go back into that space, same space, and work 3 more double crochets. That's 1. While you're doing that, I would suggest for you to hold this bit of yarn alongside your work so it gets worked in along while we're working these stitches, and we don't have to weave it in at the end. Here's my 2nd double crochet, and here's the 3rd one. After this, we are going to start working at the bottom of these stitches. These double crochets that we did in our previous round, we're going to work around them. So yarn over, stick your crochet in that space around our double crochet, and pull up a loop and work a double crochet there. You're going to go ahead and work another double crochet around that double crochet. There we go. Now from here, we're going to have 2 double crochet around each of these double crochets until we get to the center. I'm working around my last double crochet before we reach the center, and there we go. So I've just gone ahead and worked 2 double crochets around each of these double crochets from a previous, or the bottom of this particular work, and now we are near the center. So we are going to miss this center circle, and we are going to yarn over and go to the next side. We are still going to carry on doing exactly the same thing. So around each of these double crochets, we are going to go work 2 double crochets around that stitch. Hold this bit of yarn alongside the top as well to help you work that in now and avoid having to do that at the end. Once we reach the end of this, we are going to carry on and work 3 more double crochets in this space. So you already have 3 double crochets there, but we're going to go ahead and work 3 more in the same space. So that's 1, 2, and 3. And from here, you're going to chain 3 That's 1, 2, 3. We're going to connect this with our chain 3 that we begin this round with. So slip stitch in the top part of this chain 3, pull up a loop, pull this through the loop that you had on your crochet, and we're going to chain 1. Now we can go ahead and snip this yarn off and pull it out of the stitch. Pull this down to secure this in place, and we only have one strand to work with, so we are going to use our darning needle to thread this in and weave it in the end. And there you have it. This is your half a hexagon. Now you can go ahead and join this onto your other hexagons to complete your project. Now from here I'm going to quickly show you how to connect these hexagons together. So your other hexagon that you may have, we are going to make sure that they both are facing the right way and let them go flat against one another like this. So we're just folding it down on top of each other, and from here I'm going to stick my crochet in the corner right here. Now let's go ahead and grab our yarn. We're going to connect this in this corner by giving it a little knot. Once we've done this, put your crochet back into that same space, pull up a loop and work a chain 1. This allows us to carry on working our stitches without the stitches being pulled. Now we're going back into that same space and working our first single crochet. So pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through both. We're going to be connecting these two hexagons by using single crochet method. To do this, each of these spaces that you can see between our stitches, going to stick our crochet in there and make sure that it goes through the other side as well. So there's the cluster of 3. I'm going to put this through the first one, yarn over, pull up a loop. We've got 2 loops on our crochet, yarn over, pull through both. And each time when you're going through, I'm going to show you one by one. So I've gone through the front, go through the back, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through both. And you can always hold them together and just work through them together like this, as long as you can be 100% sure that they are going through the front and the back like this. And using this method, you can go ahead and join all of these hexagons together.